What is going on, boys and girls of the YouTube? So today we're doing another top 5. I'm gonna crank out all of them. I've got everything prepped, everything ready. I updated Smite source with new hunter builds, pretty much Eye of the Jungle, and it seems like dominance has been phased out a little bit, and Berserker Shield is more prominent in most hunter builds right now. Dominance still picked up occasionally, depends on the god too, but a lot of Berserker Shield in the hunters builds. This is a top 5 hunters for you to play right now. I do think a few weeks from now this will shift very quickly without any changes to hunters. I think the meta will just lay out a little bit, like play out more for them to figure it out, but it's all updated. Hunters is updated. So it's there. I have, like I said, the protector, the eye of the jungle, protect of the jungle builds are up. I'm gonna work on cow builds next for the hunters that are using it, and we'll go from there. We're gonna jump right into it. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. I'm doing this order too, so if you've noticed, I started doing polls. You guys basically told me you like hunters outside of junglers, you like hunters and soul laners as your next favorite gods or roles to play. I'm doing those next. Hunters and souls next. That's the goal. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. Make sure you're taking part in those fucking polls because I use them for other things, just because I'm interested in how you guys look at the game versus how I look at the game. So start off with, I'm gonna work from 5 to 1 in the hunters. Shouldn't really be too crazy. You could argue very easily for X god or Y god, but this is what you're seeing the most common. So number 5 is Hou Yi. The map got bigger. Hou Yi's bounces got a little bit stranger. Maybe just the fact that you need to learn the new bounces is what kind of kept people from playing him right away, but it seems like he's being played almost every other game. Like, I've been spamming ranked games and he's in every other game. His bounces in the jungle are really strong. The build makes him very, very strong. Obviously makes people not want to go crit into him. Crit isn't really a super popular build, but it's an option to just get people not to build it, and he's just doing really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring up Smite source real quick, and we will go to hunters, and here's all your hunters. Here's all your builds. If you guys need a build, go to smitesource.com. It's there. All the information's there for you. You go to Hou Yi. Boom. You're gonna see the auto attack ADC build. You're gonna see it's updated. Protect of the Jungle's core now, and the real reason is just the base stats. Even the passive is strong. The passive is actually 12%. We need to update this. The actual stats on the item: 65 power, 35 physical protections, 35% attack speed. That screams auto attack god, which is a fucking hunter almost all the time. Plus you're pairing 35 physical protections with Berserker Shield's 20 physical protections, giving you just a hunter running around with an extra 50 physical defense. Kind of control. The item gives you a ton of attack speed. Pretty much, I think it's like the second low, like the only thing more attack speed on it is Odysseus bow, which isn't like it's this stats on this kill Odysseus bow, and it's a cheap item. It's just so fucking strong. Your starter items are Eye of the Jungle tier, like the base tier, the starter item, which still gives you, makes your jungle clear faster. So when you are just running in the jungle and doing your purple whatever, you drop it really quick. Plus you're getting 20% attack speed. I think that got nerfed to 15, but I'm not 100%. And then 10 physical power. Crazy strong item. You are still going the lifesteal, going into Devos with this build. If once the cow build goes up, you'll notice there's going to be a cow build as a starter item, and then you're not going Devos, you're going into Berserker in that build. Just another option for you guys to look into if this isn't something that interests you, even though it's pretty much almost the same build. But Devos, Ninja, Berserker Shield, you get your pen off Berserker Shield, you get more attack speed, more power, get more defense. This allows you to really trade better, especially with physical junglers. Executioner for more pen, attack speed and power, and then Kins for your raw damage output with that passive plus the extra power and attack speed. It's just a really strong build all around. Actives haven't changed, and for Hou Yi, leveling guide 1, 2, alt 3, straightforward as the god is just doing really well and has some pretty solid matchups right now in that lane. He's also fairly safe because of his leap and his ability to jump over a lot of the walls that other gods can't get around or over as fast. Hou Yi is number 5 on our list. Jump back to the hunters. Next up is Apollo, number 4 on this list. I don't think this is really shocking to a lot of you guys. You're probably seeing Apollo almost every game if certain gods are banned. It's really strong. His mez makes him very hard to kill. His mez gives him protections. So with this build late game, you're getting protections off of your starter item, off the Protect of the Jungle, off of Berserker Shield, and then I believe you get 35 more off of your 2. So pair that with these 3 items and you're running around with 90 physical protections. Pair that with a Guardian standing near you and you're even fucking tankier. It's absolutely ridiculous. Same build, nothing really changes. Most of the hunters are core to these builds because they are the strongest builds. They are the builds that output the most damage in the fastest amount of time, the most consistently against the most targets. So against your supports, against your solos, against your junglers, against your mages, whoever you're hitting, you're doing a ton of damage all the time. Because as a hunter and a mage, you don't necessarily get to choose which target you're hitting at any given moment. A lot of times you just have to hit what's right in front of you, which is a lot of the time the tankier targets. These builds shred tanky targets, allow you to survive longer. Works out. I haven't done Apollo's leveling guide yet. I'll get that done really soon, but you pretty much know you're starting with your 1, you're maxing your 2 next because you want that defense off of it. You're maxing your ult and you're maxing your 3. Straightforward. Play style. The good thing and the reason Apollo is working so well right now is, as I mentioned, he's even tankier because of his 2 in the item build. So he's a tankier hunter. Not really a tank hunter, just a tankier hunter. But it's the global ult. You're out rotating everybody in every fight as long as you're using your brain. If you are warding and you see the enemy hunter start to rotate, you're able to clear your lane and then ult and beat them to the fight, which is something that you have to use to your advantage all the time. On top of that, you're able to split push if things are going a little south, or say your team dies before the other hunter even gets there, and you know they're going to go for fire, they're going to go for an objective, or they're going to push a tower. You can split push safely. That's the core. Safely. You drop a ward behind you, you start split pushing, anyone walks over the ward, you just ult the fuck out and leave as fast as possible. It's a get out of jail free card, essentially, as long as you use it soon enough. Apollo's doing really well. He was very hyped at the end of last season, so it's not weird to see him in the top 5. I will say that while his mez is super nice and it's easy to mez a jungler and run down the lane, it is still a very long lane. The lanes are long and wide now on the new map. With that being said, I believe that at some point we're going to see Apollo drift out of the top 5, and we're going to see gods like Hachi and shit come back into the meta because their ultimates allow them to run the whole length of the lane and get the fuck out safely. But as of right now, this is what everyone's playing. This is what's doing the best. I just think the meta will keep unraveling, and we'll see more and more. We'll get deeper into those core safe gods over time. I do like Apollo in your casual and ranked games, though. It's one of those gods that has 2 win conditions. You can be big and just fucking auto attack everyone down and kill them because you're fragging, or you can split push and play the PvE meta and be really fucking annoying and still get into those team fights and be effective. And that's just a nice playstyle to have and a nice playstyle for you to learn. It's number 4 on our list, Mr. Apollo. Number 3 is Danza, which I don't think surprises people. Everyone every day asks me, is Danza broken? Is Danza OP? Is Danza good in every role? Danza's strong, don't get me wrong. He's got some matchups that actually whoop his ass, like Anhur can really play well against Danza, but he's strong. He's got self-peel in his 2. He has setup in his 2. He's got high mobility in his 3 and his ultimate. He's got big setup out of his ultimate, and his 1 at point blank range. So if anyone's diving you, it hits like a fucking truck. On top of that, he's just a well-rounded god with a strong kit, good rotation potential, a good team fight potential. He just has everything that you need in a hunter. I will say his biggest downsides are some of the matchups, as I mentioned. His safety is limited. If you're playing against gods that are going to keep you from getting away in your little leaf form and your stealth invis, take me out of the game form, if you're playing gods that stop that, it is very difficult to play this god consistently, especially for your average hunter player. That is why you're not seeing him at number 1 or number 2. You are seeing him at number 3. Just a little bit more difficult because his movement isn't instant. His ultimate can be blocked. So if you're trying to use that to get out of a fucking fight, someone can just stand in front of you and block that bitch. And it's hard to play around sometimes, depending on the matchups, depending on the gods you're playing. But he is super fucking strong if you're able to just do your hunter shit. Strong. Good laning phase, good team fight phase. Can do pretty much it all at a strong level. That is number 3 on our hunter list. As you can see, I have the abilities of everything on here too. If you need it, max the 1. I like maxing the 3 because of the movement you get out of the 3. I think movement and survivability is way more important than a little bit more damage or healing out of your 2. That's just me though. You can swap those around. Whatever works for you will work for you. That's number 3, Danza. Number 2 on the list is Cupid. Cupid's fucking just nuts still. He's still nuts, man. They buffed him, they made him strong, and he is fucking strong. So Cupid's got good matchups into a lot of the other gods that have been mentioned already. Cupid can do well into Danza. Obviously, Danza can use his 3 to get out of the ult, but the heart bomb will follow, and it is something you can play around the 1 ult combo and Cupid just kind of really running him down. Also, the extra movement on Cupid. Cupid has a very long dash that a lot of the other hunters lack. And that's something that a average player, a casual rank, just regular player, someone grinding, that is something that helps you win more games. On top of that, if you didn't know, your 3 gives you static attack speed. Sorry, most people don't realize this. The attack speed on your 3 is a permanent buff. As soon as you level up the ability, you get that attack speed. It has nothing to do with your actual 3rd ability. It's literally just a passive attack speed gain. Realize that. So Cupid just all the time at max rank has 20% more attack speed. Works very, very well with the items that are being built and just synergizes great plus the sustain out of the two. Yes, sustain has been nerfed a little bit. It is still very strong to have on a hunter. The ultimate counters almost every single guardian, solo laner, and jungler that is played right now. So it is a perfect self peel / lockdown ultimate that a lot of hunters lack while maintaining other things. So Cupid has stun setup with high damage, attack speed in the kit, a crippling ultimate that is a big circle. A lot of hunters don't have a ult that's really useful in team fights, so that bumps Cupid up to that higher spot. Also does well, like I said, to some of these matchups. When played flawlessly in a Danza, does very well. Does very well into Apollo. Would have a decent, really good, honestly, I say decent, really good matchup in a Ho Yi. Just a solid god to play. I would say Anhur, which is going to be our number one, I'm going to mention in a second, will be your hardest fucking matchup. It just should hard counter you if played properly. But here it is, leveling guide. I like to level the 1 and the 3. If you're really using that 2 for sustain, you need it. Max it before the 3, but that 3 attack speed is super noticeable and core for how I play Cupid. So when I am playing Hunter and playing Cupid, this is just dumpsters for me. It works flawlessly. You see it coming out of the pro hunters and the top level hunters that are playing in ranked right now. Solid god, really strong. I think a lot of people are sick of seeing him and playing him, and that might be why he's not picked as often, but it is banned in almost every, like, honestly, plat and below fucking game. I see Cupid banned almost every single time. But Cupid's gonna be your number 2 on the list, and as I already mentioned, number 1 is Anhur. Strong laning phase, aggressive laning phase. So if you're somebody who wants to be the win condition for your team, Anhur is going to be that early in the match. You're able to be aggressive. You're able to set up your team. You have the CC immune ult, which is going to do well into almost every single god. You're going to counter Danza with your pillar, able to block the rocket. You have high mobility out of your 3. Can jump over a lot of the walls that some gods can't get around. Plus it's fast now. They sped it up. You have set up in your 2. Your auto attacks hit very, very hard because of your passive. If you didn't know that, here it is. Anhur's spears attacks reduce the enemy target's physical protection for 3 seconds. Basically more pen, almost like a stone cutting, but built in Anhur's passive. If you didn't know that, super strong. You're max the 2, max the 1, max the ult, max the 3. Usually maxing the 3 last because the damage on it is super low. Sorry, looking at the wrong thing. It's pretty low, and you're really only using that for the movement, and getting your 1 online and having that extra slow and damage buff is really big for you. You're just able to trade a lot better in the 1v1s or anyone diving you with your 1 on top of them and you standing in it or you autoing them in it. On her number 1 on the list, get good get good at just landing on her abilities. Your ultimate does a ton of damage. Be consistent with the 2, and if you are consistent mechanically with this god, he's going to out trade most, if not everybody in the map. Like, you're just gonna sit there and wail on everybody in terms of auto attacking you in the back, setting up all that shit. Long range ultimate to do a lot of damage. The CC immunity ultimate is really core too. Gods like Cupid don't have CC immunity, so you end up using your beads a lot more. Anhur doesn't have to do that. Anhur just brings a lot to the table. He's able to get tankier, so you really out trade a lot of these people that say someone with the same exact build as you. You're getting more of their protection shredded, so you're out trading them better. If you land the equal amount of autos, you're going to end up doing more damage because of your passive. Super strong god, very frustrating to play against, hard to gank when played properly, and he's just able to turn a lot of fights that you wouldn't expect. So look out for Anhur. Anhur's definitely your number 1. I don't really have any honorable mentions. As I said, I think Hachi is going to be a little bit more core and played a little bit more at a future time. I think Jingwei is still kind of safe, but not really a strong god if you're trying to make sure you win. Not putting her in the top 5. Nowhere, no chance. I think Chernobog might be the god everyone asks me about the most because he saw some buffs and he has a global ultimate. Fights aren't really breaking out on the other side of the map as often. Like, you don't fight over mids like you used to when Chernobog was really core. Back in the day, you'd fight over mids and the Chernobog would ult from his side of the map to those mids and guarantee you a win. That's just not a thing. Right now, that is not meta to fight over the mid camps. It doesn't happen that often. Even invades aren't crazy meta. There aren't a lot of 4-man grouping invading red or invading speed or invading blue. It isn't happening that much to make Chernobog super viable. So maybe as an SPL meta develops, I could see it being more SPL oriented to get into those team fights that people don't expect. But I'm not going to put him in top 5. Not even close right now. It'll be cool to see how things play out. It'll be nice to see if Rama maintains a spot like up there and moves back into top 5. If AMC's been played a lot, I think there's a little bit of hype there guiding it more than the god being great. So I think that isn't something we'll see in top 5, but it might be something you see played on your favorite ADC hunter streamers can stream. There's a lot of cool hunters to play right now, and there's a lot of let's figure it out and see what really works still happening, and we'll see where that goes. Make sure you guys are subscribed, hit the like button, drop a comment if you have any questions or any input into what you're seeing. Remember, smitesource.com is there for all your builds if you guys are trying out any of these gods. And I hope you guys like the video. See you on the video later today, later tomorrow.